Yo, what's poppin' Pokepals? Rare Boy here, and I'm back with another episode of Champions Challenge, where I take infamous trainers from the Pokemon universe and put them in the player's shoes. Could they themselves do what the player is challenged to do in every Pokemon game? Can they become the champion of the region they're placed in? Today we're going to find out if Professor Oak can reclaim his title as the champion of the Kanto region. For those of you who don't know, in the original builds of Red, Blue, and Yellow, there was actually a fight against Professor Oak programmed into the games that was never used. It is for this reason I believe that Game Freak actually intended for the game to fight Professor Oak either as a secret boss or as the original champion fight, but it was scrapped late in development. Using this information, we are going to recreate Oak's team in today's video and see if he can become champion all these years later. By now, I'm sure you all have a few questions, and I'll do my best to alleviate most of them right now as I go over the rules of this run. The first rule is that I'm only allowed to use the Pokemon Professor Oak had on his unreleased team. We are allowed to capture other Pokemon for HM usage, but they cannot assist Oak's team by any other means. The second rule is that my levels need to be equal to the level of this game's champion, meaning my ace cannot surpass the champion's ace as a means of avoiding over-leveling. And the last rule is that I must use the exact or similar movesets the contender uses. For example, Oak's Tauros has Takedown, Leer, Rage, and Tail Whip. A pretty atrocious moveset, but if that's what Oak had, that's what I have to use. And that's pretty much it. With the rules explained in Oak's Pokemon team on display, let's jump into some gameplay. The first thing that I do is pick up Squirtle from my own lab. The reason why I choose Squirtle is because I normally choose Bulbasaur, leaving Squirtle as the only starter left behind on my normal playthroughs. I take a look at his stats and he has a quiet nature, so more special attack but less speed, which is meh. With Squirtle now on our team, it's time to find out if Oak can become the champion of the Kanto region. Brock was an easy first try sweep, as you can imagine, because anyone who has ever chosen a starter other than Charmander knows exactly how easy Brock is once your starter learns a stab move. While battling the trainers outside of Mount Moon, Squirtle actually reached level 16 and evolved into a War Turtle. Right outside of Mount Moon, in the Pokemon Center, we get our first new member of the team in Magikarp, who isn't much now, but will become very powerful in the future. I take a look at her stats and she has a bashful nature, which is neutral, so not bad. I was very disappointed by my performance against my fight with my grandson Gary. We were doing a wonderful job until Bulbasaur put us to sleep and got us down to red health. Rattata was able to come in and finish us with a quick attack, and from there Magikarp just bounced around the field until he went down. A few levels later, and we don't get put to sleep by sleep powder this time around, and we're able to defeat my grandson and progress with our run. While switch training on the route above Nugget Bridge, Magikarp reached level 20 and evolved into a mighty Gyarados. Looks like we're gonna have a water battle against Misty. Our water duo match against Misty was super easy, as she had nothing to combat our Gyarados. It's ironic, Misty is always saying in the anime that Gyarados is her favorite Pokemon, yet here she is getting swept by Oaks. My grandson again tried to get confrontational with me and even took out my beloved War Turtle, but when Gyarados came out, we showed him we aren't messing around as we bite our way to victory. There is just no way I see us beating Surge with only Water-type Pokemon, so I made my way towards Erica and picked up a Growlithe. I catch her, and it turns out she has a mild nature, so more special attack but less defense, which isn't bad. She is only missing Takedown, otherwise she has her final moveset already, which is pretty fantastic. After getting Growlithe to level 25 and learning Takedown, I immediately evolve her into an Arcanine, and we have our first completed Pokemon on our team. I did a little backtracking and went back to fight Surge now that I have Arcanine. I led the fight off with War Turtle since he's the weakest link in this fight, and he did well, all things considered, making it all the way to Raichu. When War Turtle went down, I sent in Arcanine to finish the fight with a takedown, as my laptop reminds me that it's in power save mode. Yes, laptop, I'm well aware that you're in power save mode because I put you in that mode. Gotta love screen recordings. Giovanni's fight was going smooth at first, but then Kanga came in and completely annihilated War Turtle with one Mega Punch, leaving Gyarados to pick up the pieces in this fight yet again. Gary's Ivysaur is once again a problem for our starter Wartortle, but Arcanine handled him nicely. Gary's Gyarados then took out our Arcanine, as we then send in our Gyarados for a Gyarados Ditto that we came out on top from. Last was Kadabra, but he was like having no one, as Gyarados took care of him as well. Thank goodness for Arcanine, or else Erica could have been really problematic for our current team. It still wasn't an easy fight thanks to paralysis and hyper potions, but Arcanine managed to stand tall until the end. While battling some random NPC south of Fuchsia City, Wartortle finally reaches level 36 and evolves into a beastly Blastoise. We have our last two encounters here in the Safari Zone. First up is Execute, who we nab with our first Safari Ball. I take a look at her stats and she has a timid nature, so more speed but less attack, which I'm perfectly fine with. After almost not finding one, I finally encounter our last member, Tauros, who I made a save state at because that took me way too long to encounter, plus he ran away about 15 times before I actually nabbed him. As much as I love this Pokemon, I despise catching one in Kanto. Anyways, I take a look at his stats and he has a gentle nature, so more special defense but less defense, which is not great. Once I got out of the Safari Zone, the first thing that I did was evolve Execute into Executor, as all of his moves aren't obtainable until he evolves. Well, actually that's not completely true, as all three of Executor's moves he learns either at level 1 or at level 19, so we missed them. The same is true of most of Tauros' moveset. Which means Executor and Tauros' movesets I had to hack in order to get their desired movesets. With our new members on the team, I took on Koga, but it turns out we didn't even need them as Blastoise and Gyarados were able to handle this team effortlessly. Muck was a little concerning, but one turret boosted crit was enough to OHKO him after healing. After getting the entire team up to the late 30s and early 40s, I took on Gary at Sylph Tower, and I gotta say, Gyarados is a powerhouse. She almost single-handedly disposed of his entire team until Venusaur put her to sleep and Arcanine had to come in to finish the job. It's a good thing we have Gyarados because some of these Pokemon's movesets are extremely lackluster and borderline depressing. Right after the Gary fight was another Giovanni fight, but Blastoise handled him effortlessly, which is a good indication of how our final fight against him is gonna go. For once, Sabrina was actually an issue. I figured Executor would have had an easy time resisting her moves and stomping her Pokemon down, but Venomoth wound up bringing down our Coconut Tree, and then Alakazam was able to set up a Calm Mind and then proceed to take out two more of our Pokemon before Gyarados put an end to his reign. Well, that was sloppy. Do I even have to say what happened with the Blaine match? We have a Blastoise with Surf, for goodness sake. I'm really gonna miss this move when we inevitably have to replace it with Hydro Pump. Okay, so I just rinse and repeat the exact same process that we did against Blaine for Giovanni. And with that, Oak has successfully obtained all 8 gym badges in the Kanto region. I rush into Gary's fight to gauge how much we have to grind, and after this match's performance, I've come to the conclusion of not that much. We did a surprisingly good job taking out his Pokemon, but Venusaur is just too tanky for us to handle. With a few more levels, we can easily win this. I got the team up to the high 40s and early 50s, and I can be honest with you, we almost lost yet again. I really don't understand how Oak could have become a secret champion with such weak movesets on most of his Pokemon. Although it's not true to his actual team, I may need to give them some move boosting items towards the end. Here we are just outside the Elite Four after gaining some more levels and getting our final movesets. First up we have Blastoise with the black glasses to boost his bites. He has Bite, Withdraw, Skull Bash, and Hydro Pump. I lowered the level to learn Hydro Pump because Blastoise doesn't normally learn it until 68, and that's just too high for our level cap, which is only 63. Next up is Gyarados, who has Leer, Hydro Pump, Hyper Beam, and Dragon Rage, and is holding the Mystic Water item. Next up we have Arcanine with Roar, Leer, Ember, and Takedown with the Charcoal item equipped. After her is Executor, who only knows Stomp, Barrage, and Hypnosis, easily our weakest link. And finally is our Tauros, who knows Rage, Leer, Tail Whip, and Takedown, which isn't much better than Executor, but I gotta work with what I have here. Let's see if Oak can become the champion of the Kanto region. First up in the Elite Four is Lorelei, and Gyarados completely wrecked shop in this match. It wasn't until Jinx put us to sleep with Lovely Kiss that we went down, and Blastoise had to finish the fight. But to be honest, if Blastoise went down, we probably would have lost because our water types were the only foreseeable way I saw us winning this match. Just to give you all a perspective of how weak our team is aside from Gyarados and Blastoise, I threw the entire team at Bruno, and it pretty much took the whole team to take him down thanks to Gyarados missing 3 Hydro Pumps in a row. Thankfully, we're able to progress from here. I was automatically down 3 Pokemon in this match, as Exeggutor and Tauros only know normal type moves, so I sent them in against Arbok and Golbat to preserve EXP for the rest of the team. Honestly, I wasn't expecting us to win this fight on our first attempt, but thankfully we did. I'm actually really surprised we didn't need Blastoise for Lance's fight. We threw the entire rest of the team at Lance, and it was one hell of a group effort as we continuously drop Lance's Pokemon stats and then proceed to drop them one by one. Also, can we talk about how every time Arcanine has been out on camera thus far she gets a crit? That's crazy. All that's left now is the final fight against our grandson, Gary. Our battle against our grandson started off great as we were dropping his Pokemon left and right, but his Gyarados turned out to be too much of a problem for us. Granted, I did make some poor move choices, so I should hopefully be able to win this after a few more attempts. This wasn't a winning attempt, it probably would have been if we didn't miss so many attacks, but just look at all the bullshit-notic that took place on this attempt. Gary had like infinite amount of full restores this time around, almost as if he knew once Gyarados went down we would have won. It just really ticked me off and I had to show you all. It took quite a few attempts, but we finally got this run. It starts off with Blastoise taking out Pidgeot with just 2 Hydro Pumps. When Venusaur came in, I stayed in to force Venusaur to go for Solar Beam as he does. As he unleashes his Mighty Beam, I switch into Exeggutor to take the hit. Venusaur then sets up the Sun as I put him to sleep for a safe switch into Arcanine. 2 Sun-boosted Embers were enough to take down Venusaur. Out next is Rhydon, and I knew he would go for an Earthquake based on previous attempts, so I swapped to Gyarados for a free switch. The sunlight fades just in time as I OHKO Rhydon with the Hydro Pump. Alakazam then dealt some massive damage to us and even set up a Reflect, but 2 Dragon Rages and a Hydro Pump were enough to put him down. Gary then sent out his own Gyarados, and I sacked off Exeggutor. I then sent out Tauros and began spamming Leers to drop his defense, and we lucked out as Gyarados kept missing his attacks. Eventually, I got the Sea Serpent down, and last out was Arcanine. I sent in Blastoise and OHKO'd him with 1 Hydro Pump from our trusty Blastoise, defeating Gary and registering Oak and his team into the Kanto Hall of Fame. Wow, that was insane. This was by far our most difficult challenge in this series thanks to our severely lackluster movesets. Perhaps I should do more older generation trainers more often. For the next episode in this series, we're going to find out if Silver can become the champion of the Hoenn region, so if you don't want to miss that episode, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Also, if you enjoyed this video and the idea behind it, leave a like, I greatly appreciate it. And finally, in the comment section down below, write down what your favorite part of today's run was. This has been your boy Rare Boy, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace!
Red, white, and blue, yeah, I love this place.
Excuse me, did you just watch this video? You must have if you made it this far into the video. And yet you haven't liked, commented, shared, or subscribed. The Rare Boy working very hard on these videos. Please do the man a favor.